We're back. We're back and I'm not plugged in. I'm like, is the sound coming on? Let me see. There we go. Always a technical issue. How's everybody doing out there? Let's mute this little music real quick. It's been a while. I went on a trip out of town last week. Much needed trip. Had a great time. But yeah, we've been on the break since then. The last time I streamed, say Tuesday? I think I streamed like sometime last Friday or something for the Steam sale. So we went shopping for new games and I bought new games on this PlayStation store as well. Excuse me. I bought Stray, Elder Scrolls, Coffee Talk. What else did I buy? What else? Stardew Valley, Class of '09. I think I bought one more game from PlayStation. But anyway, I got a few games that I will be streaming here. So I've been playing Coffee Talk. That's a game I'm not going to be streaming, but that was purely like a cozy game for me. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't choose that one to stream because number one, I'm a real quick reader. So that would have been just agonizing having to read that out loud. And I will say what I thought Coffee Talk was kind of like DoorDash with a like an interactive component, like kind of like a I don't know, like a talking head sim or something. I don't know how to explain it. Like, you're running a coffee shop and you're talking to people, but you're making like drinks rapid fire or whatever. But no, it's cozy. It's real chill. You might be making 1 or 2 drinks a night. So it's not the most exhilarating game, but I bought it for, I think it was like $6. And it's a good one to decompress with. So anyway, for the next hour and a half, we are going to be playing Our Life, Beginning and Always. It's a game we started a few weeks ago, if not a month ago now. 4 life stages. I think this game's supposed to be like 16 to 30 hours or something like that. So we are now entering adolescence. We were in the childhood stage. We're entering adolescence. Gonna see where the story goes. I will be streaming tomorrow as well. That will be a no cam stream. We're going to start Stardew Valley. Okay, I want to know what Stardew Valley is all about. And I think there was like a new update. Wasn't there a new update? I heard there was a new update that's supposed to be really good. So we will dive into that. And I think that's going to do it for the streams this week. But I am getting closer and closer to having a consistent schedule and just knowing ahead of time what games we're going to be playing. I think I'm going to do Elder Scrolls, start that next week. Maybe I'm going to start that next week, or I will start that after this game. We'll see. We will see how we'll see how Stardew Valley goes. If I like it enough to keep streaming it, or if we'll just replace that with a PlayStation game. All right, so let's transition here. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, by the way. Okay, beginning and always. Yeah. All right, let's continue. Ooh, gotta stretch, get my reading on. Saying my bit rate is getting unstable. Let me know if you guys have any technical issues. All right, continue. Let's go. All right. Wait a minute. No, hold on. Load. My name is Jamie Peaches. Okay, March 2nd. That sounds about right. Wow. Over 2 weeks. Let's load this. It's the same shit? No way. Let's see. There's no way. Okay, well, let me click it. So we're moving on. And then summer ended, yes. Oh, here are the mommies. I'll never get tired of that view. You stood beside your moms and Lizzie as the four of you watched the sun dip into the ocean somewhere far, far away. You like to imagine it cooling off in the water, resting itself before getting ready to shine brightly again tomorrow. That was a fun day. I didn't know they had magicians on the shopping street now. Neither did I, said Mommy. Oh no, we are so dull. Let's get out more. Yes, you are dull. Oh, here she goes. He didn't do real magic, Mom, said Lizzie. How did you figure that one out? 'Cause I know that's not what real magic looks like. Oh, Lizzie, dear, there's all kinds of magic in the world. Lizzie gave Mommy a suspicious look, but didn't dispute the claim. Well, we can't sit out here all night. Time to hurry home and get cooking. Who's helping with dinner? Lizzie immediately let out a groan. I'm like, why is everyone looking at me? Mom, summer's almost over. The protest was obvious. You could practically see school on a horizon. You certainly didn't want to spend your last bits of freedom cooking dinner. You could do that any other day. Okay, I forgot to put up the poll thing, guys, but I will aim to work on that. I'm going to probably change out my overlay in general. But anyway, okay, please can we play a little longer? We have to keep playing before it's too late. It is almost over. You put on your best puppy dog eyes. Lizzie may not want to, but you planned on going home. Let's go with we have to keep playing before it's too late because that was just totally me as a kid. Mom raised a brow, the corner of her mouth lifting before she pursed her lips. You make it sound like it's the end of the world. It practically is. You nodded vigorously, thankful that you had your sister on your side. Surely your joint effort would wear your mom down. Did it? Did it wear her down? Soon we'll have homework and reading to do. We can't do work now, too. Lizzie made her case and then stomped her foot into the ground. You mimicked her, feeling that would add something to the argument. It's childish. Well, oh, come on, Pam. I can help you with dinner. Oh, they have names. Can we replace that, please? Mommy leaned in for a hug, and you knew that you were very close to victory. All right. But as soon as dinner's ready, you lot are coming inside, understood? Yes, Mom. Yes, Mom. So much to do, so little time. Maybe I could still get that seashell bracelet at Tins and Trinkets. Tins and Tines and Trinkets. Oh, or maybe the playground or the fireflies would probably be coming out, right? Let's see. Don't I get a say in this? You silently made your own plans. We can't go too far. I'm going home. Well, I wouldn't say I'm going home. I just beg to stay out. Let's ditch her. Let's ditch her. You silently made your own plans. Lizzie had her own ideas of what she wanted to do, but what were you going to do? Wait, what? Did I misread the anima? A strong gust of wind made you shiver. Lizzie huffed as she wrapped her arms around herself. Doesn't the wind know that summer is not over yet? That's all Lizzie said before abruptly turning on her heel and heading off in a direction your mother's had gone. Where are you going? I'm going to my room. I have lots to plan if I want to make the most out of tomorrow. You thought this over, looking off towards the water again. Lizzie didn't wait, and before long she was disappearing off down the road. You followed Lizzie. You stayed outside. I think if we stay outside, what's his face is going to come over, right? You watched Lizzie run off, twisting your lips as you considered what to do. In the end, the pretty sky and the soothing sound of the waves won out. You strayed off the path, grinning at the feel of the sand quickly filling in the empty space in your flip-flops. That was fun for a while, but you grew bored eventually. How else could you enjoy the remainder of your time at the beach? You looked for seashells, you drew in the wet sand, or you roamed around. Why can't I just watch the sunset? I don't think it's going to be a big deal what I choose. You drew in the wet sand. You looked around until you found a sturdy twig, then made your way to the shoreline. There you doodled and wrote a few words. It was a race against the waves, which would roll in to erase your hard work. It was a great evening, but soon enough you had your fill and were ready to join the rest of your family back home. Yep, told you he was going to show up. Not too much farther down, you spotted a familiar green head of hair moseying along the shore. You kept going. You went to see what Cove was up to. Dude, that's so cold if you kept going. Let's see what good old Cove is up to. Curious, you strayed off your path and walked over to him. Cove knelt down, picking up something you quickly identified as a smooth rock. He reared his arm back, then tossed it out into the water. You were impressed over how far he got it to go. It sailed way out into the sea. How way out? It was a good toss. That was pretty neat. It wasn't a long throw, but he didn't care to try for that. The rock sunk kind of like a rock and fell back down almost right after he tossed it. I feel like kind of being a troll tonight. What? More dialogue. You can't skip rocks in the ocean. What are you doing? You looked for your own rock. Let's look for our own rock. Deciding to join Cove, you searched nearby for any rocks or shells that you could throw too. Cove jumped a little when he noticed you, and you gave a shrug and a smile, realizing you'd sort of forgotten to announce yourself. You found a shell that would suit your purposes, a smile growing as you tossed it as hard as you could. It landed with a wet-sounding thunk a few feet away and slipped down into the water. You hadn't emptied up with a very good throwing shell after all. Cove was looking down at his cast, scratching idly at the pink surface, even though you were pretty sure he couldn't feel it. His brows were furrowed and there was a frown on his face. This child is always angry. He's always upset. He needs therapy. It's not fair. I've had to wear this cast for ages. I can't even swim. Yeah, but you had 11 years to do that. When do you get it off? How'd you get it? Let's ask how he got it. Because I want to find out if Lizzie did it. Lizzie broke his arm. I was jet skiing. I want to hear this story. I want to hear this story. Your eyes widened in disbelief. Envy. He broke his fucking arm in a jet ski accident. Wow. Envy filled you. Sure, he'd broken his arm, but at least he got to say he'd gone jet skiing before. He then continued to explain. I crashed. He gestured to his arm as if to say, and this was the result. It's hard to believe you're allowed to ski, I say. Well, I'm not. Oh. Cove let out a huff, plopping down into the sand. I can't believe summer's almost over, he said. You sat down next to him and nodded in agreement, regardless of the sudden topic change, because what? I want to know how you broke your arm in a jet ski accident. I know water is dangerous. You will get murked by the ocean. But I'm just did he crash into a rock? Did he fall off the jet ski and crash into a rock? Just trying to figure it out. It's not the point. Okay, fine. Cove. I don't want to go to school. I mean, I would. I don't want to go to a new school. I think it'll be the same school as you and Lizzie. My dad said something about that. So why don't you want to go, I ask? It's nice as far as schools go. You'd only ever been to the one school, but you were sure that his old school couldn't have been that much better. Then again, he did have to make new friends and meet new teachers. It could be kind of scary. Cove shook his head, then wrapped his good arm around his knees as he drew them to his chest. You heard a sniffling sound, and when you took a good look at his face, you realized that his eyes were wet. I want to go home, cried Cove. Awkward silence. You weren't sure what to do. It felt weird to just leave him here, crying. But what could you say that would help? You frowned a little, starting to stand. Okay, well, bye then. That's totally me. I am an empathetic person, and maybe that's why. But when someone starts crying, I feel super awkward. I just don't know what to do. I cannot compute. I mean, I hate crying myself, so I'm not good with crying in general. Cove gave his head a small shake. No, I want to go back home. Right. Cove wanted to go back to his old home, the one that sat waiting someplace far from here, the one he would bring up whenever he felt this sad. It had been a while since he had moved in, but he didn't seem to feel any better about being here. You settled back down into the sand, trying to consider what to do. Okay. Do you hate it here? This can be your home. It'll be all right. Let's just tell him everything will be all right. Sometimes when you were sad about something, your mom said that to you. In the moment, you thought it couldn't possibly be all right. Because Sir Stuff-a-Lot lost his arm, or you skinned your knee, or you couldn't possibly finish all your vegetables. Oh, okay. She's saying when her moms would tell her that. I thought she meant like right now about Cove. But in the end, they were always right. Cove, awkward, ... silence. You're not going to leave, right? He asked. You'll still be around? The question was a little surprising. Of course, I don't know. Oh my God. It's just like psychological torture, this answer. Let's put of course. Hold on, I'm going to check the stream health real quick. I think we're okay. I think I have to change some of my bitrate settings, but we will see. Let's go back to this crazy kid's life. Your parents would have mentioned if you were going to move or something, right? No, my parents suck. After a second, Cove gave a little nod. Once I get my cast off, we could go swimming. He said he didn't know how to swim. I'm not teaching him how to swim. You were fine with him changing the subject again. Because he's trying to be a stage 5 clinger. Okay. Sorry. You smiled so he knowed you were only kidding. Cove smiled, then looked back to the waves. My dad keeps saying I'll get used to everything, eventually. That I'd feel better then. It used to make me angry. I didn't want to get used to everything. We are live. Are you coming through? Who is this? What is this notification? Oh, that's for another streamer. Ugh. I didn't want to get used to everything. You spared a glance over at Cove and saw the anger had slipped off his face in favor of something almost puzzled. But maybe that would be okay after all, as long as I really do feel better, he said. I can't see it. The two of you sat quietly, just taking in the sounds of the waves. Lost in thought, you started a bit when you heard a faint familiar sound. The sound of your mom shouting your name. You looked over your shoulder, realizing it was probably time for dinner. Had you guys really been sitting out here that long? You stood and dusted the sand off of yourself. My mom's calling, I said. It's time for dinner. You should come. Cove looked up at you, expression screaming reluctance, yet ultimately, okay, he agreed. When you smiled, Cove returned with one of his own. But the two of you couldn't stay there in your own little world any longer. You were being called forward. So the both of you ran towards your house, leaving the waves and summer behind. Bye, summer. Oh, this is my adolescent face now? Okay. Okay, I didn't know this happened. Ooh, let's do peach. Peaches. Ooh, that's pretty cool. No, I like this oh, that pink's fun. This is very emo. This is very teenage. Buns, scrappy. Oh yeah, let's do it. Hold on, I like that. I like that. Thin lips. I don't think so, baby. I like that. Like, what happened to your nose freckles? Clothing types. I don't even know what that means. I can't see clothes. Like, I can't even see a body. Oh. Whatever. All right, my feelings for Cove. My feelings for Cove. All right, let's put relaxed. And we'll put fond. We care about his feelings, right? Begin step 2 at relaxed fondness. Yes. Oh, that's fun. Choose to customize Cove yourself or let his prior experiences determine it. Well, let's let his prior experiences. All right, here we go. Adolescence, y'all. August ended. Oh, ads about to start. We'll snooze it. All right, snoozed for 5 minutes. I like that little notification. Okay. August ended, September began. It was time to go back to school. Lizzie groaned and complained the entire first week. She hated going to classes. Still, they were interesting things to do that couldn't be done anywhere else. You weren't sure how Cove felt about it. He was enrolled that year. That was like a sign Cove would be staying in Sunset Bird for a while. At school, he was all right, but he kept his distance from the other kids, from what you saw anyway. Originally, stop. Oh, it is like trophies? That's very intrusive. Originally, he treated you like everyone else, passing by as if you didn't know each other. But as the years went on, the two of you acknowledged each other more and more. A friendship had started to grow. That year, the divorce of Cove's parents was finalized. You overheard your parents talking about it. Oh, gossips. Saying Cove's dad got full custody. At first, you worried that meant bad news. It had made Mr. Holden cry, apparently. Then you found out it meant Cove would keep living with his dad. He would only stay with his mom a few weeks of the year. Cove cried too, for different reasons, you thought. It seemed like Cove and his dad might move again, but Mr. Holden decided to stay after all. Mom asked him about it once. He said he didn't want to uproot Cove's life a second time. Mr. Holden tried to get Cove to like Sunset Bird more. He kept encouraging his son to go out and see the place. Sometimes Mr. Holden volunteered you to spend time with Cove. You weren't sure how well it worked in changing Cove's thoughts on the town, yet it might have been part of the reason you and Cove ended up growing closer. Cove never talked to anyone about what happened with his parents sorry, there I feel like it's missing commas. And withdrew whenever it was brought up. It was hard for him, yet nobody knew how to help. Eventually, Cove stopped crying on his own. You couldn't understand what had changed. Still, you worried about him. You could tell he wasn't completely happy. Maybe one day he could say out loud what he felt inside. After that, it felt like things had gone back to normal, except what was normal didn't stay the same. Years passed, and suddenly you were in middle school. You weren't a kid anymore. You were 13 years old. That officially made you a teen, even if your sister didn't agree. The toys and crayons that used to litter every free space in your room had been packed away somewhere, replaced by new hobbies. There were other changes too. Cove's cast got taken off. It was weird to see him without it initially. How long was that cast on? Like, that's a story point for 3 slides ago. Underneath the pink plaster ended up being a long, thin scar that snaked across his forearm. Cove's chest puffed out in pride when someone drew attention to it. He also went through a major growth spurt. He was the tallest student in his class for 2 years in a row. Cove will probably hold that spot again next time. In class, people knew him for more than just being tall. He also stood out because of how well he did on tests and in other academic situations. Over the years, he began opening up more too. You saw him talking amicably with other kids or neighbors from time to time. And the only kid that came to visit the neighborhood when you were little, Shiloh, well, he was gone. No, what happened to Shiloh? Oh, I'm already feeling the feelings. Oh, he and his mom moved back south because of her work just 1 year after Cove came to Sunset Bird. It had been really upsetting when he left. Lizzie was inconsolable for weeks, but no one talked about Shiloh anymore. It was a long time ago. Damn. He had like this hissy fit, and now they're like, we're gonna talk about him no more. We don't talk about Shiloh. You learned some heartbreaking things became less sad the further away they were, even if they had never gotten any better. That was sad in its own way. Things at home were different too. You still lived in the same house and all that, but it wasn't how it was before. Uh-oh. Ma dyed her hair purple, wanting something new, and liked it so much she kept dyeing it. You remember calling her mommy as a kid, but something like that seemed awkward nowadays. It was awkward back when we were doing it. You were much too old for the word. Okay, so I'm getting an incoming ad break notification. It's going to start in about 30 seconds. That's fine. I'm going to get some more water. So let's take a hydration break, a bathroom break, a little break, and I will be back in about 5 minutes. Okay, so 20 seconds. All right, BRB. There we go. Welcome back. Love you. Lovely, beautiful people out there. Okay, so for some of the VOD playback, I feel like this mic I might have to replace because my, what is this? Nitro 5 gaming laptop is freaking loud. The fan is loud. It's got the NVIDIA GeForce GTX chip in here. And I know it's loud when I like try to run The Sims. It sounds like a freaking airplane. But I've noticed that this mic is capturing that. I've been doing my research on mics. And apparently this one is not really it. Because it just, even though it has 4 separate settings. But this was a little bit of an investment. But I'm going to be looking at mics for the future too. Okay, let's get back into this. Lizzie felt too mature for her nickname too. She insisted on everyone calling her Elizabeth, so you did. Your mom soon gave her permission to go to places other than the playground and shopping street, which she took advantage of. You rarely saw her around the old neighborhood. Doesn't she live with you? See, I have my heater on too. In fact, she hardly spent time with you the way she did before. Elizabeth instead associated more and more with girls from school who were her own age. Maybe the difference between 13 and 15 was greater than the difference between 8 and 10. You started befriending new people yourself, like Derek Suarez. He didn't live in the neighborhood or go to the same school. What happened was his and Cove's dad struck up a business partnership a few months ago. Since then, Derek would pop up in the area now and then. It seemed Mr. Suarez was happy to let Derek tag along to his work if Derek had the time for it. Without a doubt, everyone and everything around you had changed, in small and big ways. You had too. As time went by, though, it was easy to settle into this new normal. Then, before you knew it, school was over and summer vacation had come again. Ooh, new setting. It was the first day of summer vacation. The sun was hot as ever, but you were inside and away from its harsh rays. It's totally me. To be more specific, you were, snuggled up in bed, celebrating your time off by sleeping in. Wide awake, about to head out to enjoy your time off. Or we are in bed. It was hot, but you still had the blanket up over your head to block out the sun. You didn't want it intruding on your lazy morning. This is why I get blackout shades. I've got blackout curtains. Unfortunately, you hadn't prepared for an intrusion. From beneath the blanket, you heard the door creak open. You're still sleeping, said Elizabeth. Wow, get up. Let's tell her to go away. You pretended to still be asleep. You got up. You started to fake snore loudly. Warning. Tell her to get the hell out of our face. By the impatient tapping of her foot, you could tell she hadn't left. Get up now. I will come over there. So much for a lazy morning. Mom told me to tell you that your friend's at the door. He brought some happy summer gift from Mr. Holden. Mom wants you to take it from him. Say thanks or whatever. So come down already. All right, I can say be right there. Okay, fine. Really, that's great. I'm coming. I'll be there when I'm there. Do a simple be right there. Elizabeth said nothing else and left, having done what was instructed of her. You rolled out of bed, stretching your arms up high and yawning. Time to get ready. You sat yourself in front of the mirror in the far corner of your room. Let's see, your reflection hardly even fit in the frame. Oh my God. Okay. I thought it was like she was. You're very tall. Your reflection went over the whole length of the mirror. You're pretty tall. Your reflection fit comfortably in the frame. Your average height. There was a lot of open real estate in the frame. You're pretty short. You had trouble getting your reflection to appear in the mounted mirror frame. You were very short. I'm going to say your reflection went over the whole length of the mirror. You're pretty tall because I would like to be a good 5'6", 5'7", 5'7" was kind of my ideal height. And I didn't make it, guys. I didn't clear it. Cove tended to be the only person around who was even taller, at least among teens your own age. Let's see, you liked your height, you weren't sure how to feel about it, you were kind of self-conscious over it. I'm sure like a 13-year-old is going to be self-conscious over that type of height. You couldn't help but feel awkward with the body you had. Then you put the finishing touches on your outfit while ruminating on the situation. Careless as they had been, Elizabeth's words piqued your curiosity. You planned on going over to see what Cove was up to, so this worked in your favor. Your reflection grinned back at you. You were looking forward to seeing him. You left your room, taking easy time down the stairs. Step 2, second chance. You spotted Mom first, reclining on the couch. She held a magazine in her hands, which she was perusing through. Morning, Mom. She looked up at your greeting, a smile instantly appearing on her face. Good morning, Jamie. Thank you for coming down. Mom's at the door with Cove, so it's Mom and Ma now? He can't stay over today, unfortunately. Why don't you go and thank him before he leaves? You nodded and made your way to the front of the house. Just as she said, Ma was there making conversation. She must have heard you because she looked over her shoulder. Look who finally made it. Morning, sleepyhead. Ma reached forward and you knew she was about to pat you on the head. She was taller than average for an adult woman, so you were still little in her eyes despite being big for your own age. Let's see, you let her do it. You happily let her do it. You tilted your body aside to dodge. You pushed her hand back and laughed. You pushed her hand back and groaned. Stop touching me. Stop touching me. You pushed her hand back and groaned. Yes. You did not need her to pat you on the head like you were a baby or a dog. Ah, you're the last one down today. You know that? Life isn't a race. Morning, I was going to stay in longer, so you're welcome. Sorry about the wait. What did we get? Life isn't a race, Ma. Relax. Funny, I don't think that excuse will work if you're late for anyone other than your own mother, though, she said. With a small laugh, Ma stepped aside. Cove was just as you remembered, exactly how you came to know him to be. Here's the grand reveal. There he is. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. He, super awk. He leaned uncomfortably to the side in your doorway as his bushy hair covered part of his face. His features were pinched in embarrassment, and he shifted from one foot to another. He was holding what must be the much-talked-about gift. At first glance, you figured it must be a bouquet of flowers. Then you gave it a real look. No, instead, it was carefully cut fruit. So an edible arrangement? It made a lot of sense that it was actually from Cove's dad. You had to suppress a laugh at the showing. You couldn't imagine many folks buying that sort of thing for their own personal enjoyment. That kind of arrangement was built for the presentation, likely to impress whoever was inevitably going to receive it. It seemed no matter how long he lived here, Mr. Holden would keep going out of his way to be neighborly, and Cove would always be roped into participating. Cove smiled slightly at the sight of you. The sting of this goofy errand he was clearly embarrassed to be on eased. Hey, Jamie. You earnestly grinned back. It wasn't weird at all, like it used to be when you were kids. As time passed, the two of you started to enjoy each other's company. Now you actually considered him a good friend, and not someone you were forced to be around by your families. Hey, it's really nice to see you. Yeah, you too. And you were certain he meant that agreement. It was already shaping up to be another long summer with plenty of time for the two of you to have fun together. His awkwardness over the task started to creep back in, so Cove nudged the gift closer to you. He was ready to be relieved of it. And with that, the gift was accepted. I hope you and your family like this. It's a pretty good gift. I think so anyway. He smiled earnestly. Dad did a lot of time picking out the best size and design. There were so many options to choose from. We can say thank you. Thanks. You're too cute sometimes. Okay. Slow your roll. Slow down. We're just going to say simple thank you. Can you tell your dad we love the gift? Yeah. Mr. Holden's behavior really was different from any neighbor you'd ever had. Though after 5 years you were used to his antics, and you'd since made up your mind on what your opinion was. He was nice, he was sort of funny, he was pretty weird, you didn't like him, he was great and kind of handsome to boot. I mean, that's what I said. I said he was pretty weird and kind of handsome though. Let's choose he was nice. You knew he wasn't completely perfect, but he always seemed to try so hard for the sake of others. Your thoughts were quickly interrupted by a shout. Ah! There you are! You shared a confused look with Cove as both of you stepped through the open door onto the neighborhood street. Who is this? Oh, it's got a little daddy light. He's taking his daddy's fashion advice. It didn't take long to locate the source of the noise. You spotted Derek just a few yards down the road. He ran up to you. You were happy at the sight of him. You were confused at the sight of him. You were displeased at the sight of him. Well, we just got done saying what a great friend he was. So let's pick you were happy. Derek was certainly a welcome guest in your neighborhood. It was a pleasant surprise whenever he showed up. After stopping a couple steps away, Derek hunched over to catch his breath. Then he looked up with a wide grin. Hey, guy and gal. I was just at your house, Cove, but no one was there, he said. Should have figured you'd be at Jamie's place. Do you ever spend time in your own home, or are you always just there? That sounds shady. Derek laughed at his own joke. He either didn't notice that it embarrassed Cove, or the embarrassment was what he was actually laughing at. Derek turned to you. He was going to say more when his eyes widened and he gasped. What's that? He asked. You followed his gaze, unsure. Then you realized what he meant. You were still holding Mr. Holden's gift. This? It's kind of like a bouquet of flowers, but made out of fruit. Nice, he said. Can I have some? Let's see. Sure, we can share. I haven't even tried any yet. It's a gift for my family. I can give it to you. Maybe you can have some later. Yeah, have some later, dude. I was in the middle of something. Derek grew more excited by your words, bouncing on the balls of his feet. Awesome, he cried. Then he nodded his head as if to clear it. Anyway, that's right. I came here because I needed to say something big. He paused, possibly for effect. There's some other kid here in Sunset Bird. Cove was as surprised as you were by the news. Such a reaction made sense. No one around your age had moved here since Cove did 5 years ago. Were they with their family? Cove asked. Maybe they were cutting through. Nuh-uh, said Derek. The new kid was all by himself, just walking. Did you talk to him? I asked. Nope, I came to report the sighting right away. The kid had green hair, glasses, was pretty small, and seemed really upset about something. I hope he didn't leave. You blinked. Slowly, you looked over to your longtime neighbor. That sounds a lot like you, Cove, when you first got here anyway. Kinda does, doesn't it? He said. That's weird. He sounded almost fond, a small smile playing on his lips. Derek snickered good-naturedly. I can see that really well, now that you say so. But what did you say? Let's go find Cove's lookalike. We should all meet him. I'll do it, said Cove. Sure. I want to see who this person is, I say. Derek grinned, then he pointed down the street the way he came. Last I saw him, the mystery visitor was going this direction. Nothing else needed to be said. The three of you were off, with Derek leading the way. Derek brought you to the beach, and as a trio, you made your way down the shore to the old playground. You walked the familiar path in a comfortable silence. When you were almost there, you spotted the kid in question. His bright colors almost shone like a beacon beneath the rays of the sun. He scuffled around, kicking up the sand as he paced. It was true. He certainly seemed upset, but you didn't think he was sad like you had originally pictured. No, with his erratic movements and scrunched up expression, he came off angry. You started to have doubts about this expedition. Maybe it'd be better if you'd left him alone and let him sort himself out. Derek didn't feel the same. He waved wildly, calling out to the boy. Hey, guy, over here. Ooh. Scary, but he's got Cove's hair. At least the color of it. The kid whipped around an impressive scowl, carving deeper into his face. His eyes were tired, but a strong hostile energy still radiated from him. What? What is it? What do you want? The sharp tone made Derek flinch. He shifted on his feet. Oh, what's your name? He asked. Jeremy. Was that it? No, I'm Derek. That's Jamie and Cove. We were just walking around and saw you. We wanted to say hi. There aren't a lot of kids in our age in the neighborhood. Yeah, so it's cool to see someone else here, said Derek. Strangely, Jeremy grew furious by your response. If steam could erupt from a person's ears, it would have happened then. They did bring me something stupid. Of course, I knew it. Oh, am I carrying around that stupid bouquet? What? Asked Cove. My parents, they're the one who brought me. I didn't walk to this town. Can you not figure that out on your own? Right, said Derek. My dad brings me to Sunset Bird too, when he has to come for work and all that stuff. It's not bad. That earned him a glare from Jeremy. Derek winced beneath it, glancing away. It was a struggle to remain friendly with this Jeremy guy. I mean, I wouldn't want to come here for a real vacation probably either, said Derek. That's an understatement. This doesn't count as a vacation. It's a waste of time. A chore, responded Jeremy. My parents' family is nearby and we just had to come see them. Ugh. If they're your parents' family, said Cove, doesn't that make them your family too? I guess, said Jeremy. That's a pretty good reason to come by. Did you want to go somewhere else? Asked Derek. No. Jeremy crossed his arm with a huff. He turned away. They should have gone by themselves since they cared so much and left me home, but I'm not allowed to be by myself. Poof. It makes no sense. They're the ones who don't know anything. Wait, they're the ones who don't know how to do anything, and I'm the kid? You kept quiet. I think that's the best response right there. You had no idea what to say to this, so you stayed silent. Jeremy didn't even notice, too focused on ranting. How do they always make summer vacation worse every year? Asked Jeremy. You turned to Cove, lowering your voice. The two of you aren't that similar after all, I say. Jeremy must have had good hearing, though, because he caught the private exchange and scoffed. Of course we're not similar. My eyebrows aren't stupid. Yes, but they're very 90s thin. Cove's cheeks flushed crimson at the insult. You couldn't be sure if it was out of embarrassment or anger, maybe both. Come on, said Derek. What? No, Cove's wavy eyebrows are so cool. How can you say that when you've got a bowl cut? Don't listen to him. They're really unique and special. Well, they are kind of silly. Apologize to Cove right now. You can't keep treating people like this. I'm going for the bowl cut. Yep, it's embarrassing and awful, but my parents made me. I won't have to have it when I'm older. I don't know what he's going to do with those things except maybe shave them off. He probably should. I bet he looked less dumb with no eyebrows, said Jeremy. You just rolled your eyes. You crossed your arms over your chest. You shook your head. You patted Cove on the shoulder. You lunged towards Jeremy. You grinned at all of this. I kind of want to get unhinged. And I'm going to lunge towards this kid. Let's keep it interesting. With your fist balled, you made a quick step forward. But you only wanted to spook him. He was the one who started things. You were ready to end them. Yo. Oh my gosh, blue or yellow? Let's go for it. He'd made it clear that words wouldn't work, leaving you to resort to action. You weren't sure what would happen, but you couldn't let this stand. Derek and Cove jumped in to stop you before you reached him. They each grabbed you by the arm. Still, Jeremy instinctively stumbled backwards. He practically fell over. If that's all you can do about what I'm saying, it's just proving I'm right. You're brainless, said Jeremy. You were annoyed the other two were against you on this and got in the way, though the reaction you had been able to get was still worth it. Wow, what is wrong with you? Asked Derek. Instead of taking offense, Jeremy only parroted Derek's words in a nasally voice. Wow, what is wrong with you? Wah, wah. This is dumb, said Jeremy. Jeremy stuck out his tongue and skulked away, throwing more sand everywhere as he went. Watch him have a glow up later on in this game. You watched him go hunched over until he became a speck in your vision. Silence reigned in his wake. The three of you tried to process what just happened. I can't believe it. What a mean kid, said Derek. Derek wasn't kidding, and by the sound of those earlier complaints, the new boy Jeremy was going to be in the area for at least a little while this summer. Derek sighed in dismay, plopping onto the ground. You followed, and Cove did too shortly after. There wasn't much else to do. This sucks, said Derek. I was hoping we could meet someone fun, hang out maybe. He shook his head. After a moment, he slowly turned to you with a hopeful expression. But you know what could really improve the day? What, I asked. He didn't respond. Instead, he used a hand to point, right at the fruit arrangement that you were still holding. You completely forgot about it during the mini drama that unfolded. You had gotten used to the wait. Glancing over at Cove, you noticed he was eyeing the fruit. He must want some too. All right, I need to save it. Why not? Let's eat. You gotta eat those things, baby. You gotta eat them. Derek perked up immediately at your words. He reached out for a skewer, hesitating slightly once he was inches away. Are you sure? He asked. You nodded. With an eager grin, he plucked out a prime roll of fruits. Cove grabbed one for himself after him. Only you were without a skewer of your own. You took a pineapple skewer, a grape skewer, a strawberry skewer, melon skewer. I'm the strawberry girl. Pineapple close second. The strawberry was a bright red and beckoning you. It was the obvious first choice. Derek ate a pineapple skewer enthusiastically, finishing it within moments. This is amazing. It's not different than any other normal fruit. It's kind of worse. These have been out in the open with their skins off for a while. Sheesh. Hey, you two remember the Land Before Time? That fruit thing makes me think of it. The dinosaurs all liked the leaves that were shaped like stars. Tree stars, said Cove. Yeah, chomping leaves looked so delicious when they did it. And there was that scene with the pretty trees, and all the dinosaurs came in and picked everything off them till there was nothing. That's us right now. Awesome. I love that movie. I've never seen it. I didn't like that one. That movie's for kids. Eating leaves looks good. Should I worry about you? Do you think things taste better when they're shaped like stars? How about that movie is traumatizing? And please never talk about it again. That's not an option. Okay. I'm going to put I didn't like that one. See? Aw, it is pretty sad, he said. The three of you continued like this for the next few minutes. Eventually, the display was barren. It looked weird when devoid of fruit. Hey, we weren't supposed to eat all of it. It did help make you feel better. Eating it all hadn't really made you feel better. Okay, we're going to go with the first one. Oops, said Derek. Really? Asked Cove. Ooh. Another ad's about to start. We'll snooze it for another 5 minutes. Okay, snooze for 5 minutes. Then we're going to take another short break while the ad is running, so you guys don't miss the story. You couldn't stop yourself from sighing at the boys. You just wanted to eat some and have a nice time. Now you were probably going to get in trouble. You could only accept it though. Hey Jamie, Cove said. Yeah, I responded. The two of you met eyes casually. Were you seriously going to hit that guy? Well, he had it coming, I said. Jamie, that's so bad, said Derek. I thought it was cool, said Cove. Why? You're both crazy. You knew when Derek said things like that, it wasn't serious. He liked you and Cove. Yeah. Derek then leaned back on his arms. He contemplated the sky with a content sigh. So, are you both ready for summer break? Yeah, no, I'm not sure. Are you? How's someone supposed to be ready for a break? That's a good question. But usually any break I take is planned because it's usually a trip or just like I have to plan my breaks. That's the kind of person I am. Even if that just means laying in bed and watching some back titles on a streaming platform. I'll say yeah. I'm ready. Cool on you, said Derek. Wish I could say the same. It feels like there's a lot to plan for. And what about you, Cove? Are you ready? Yes, he said. Before you could say anything else, the light atmosphere was shattered. Oh, God. Oh. Ugh, it's her buzzkill. Hey, Jamie, called Elizabeth. You glanced over your shoulder to see your sister. She strode closer and closer, appearing none too pleased. I've been looking all over for you, she said. Ma said you and Cove ran off with the thing Mr. Holden bought for us. She leered over you with arms folded. So, where is it? Well, it's gone, I say. What do you mean gone, she asked. You moved over to the side to face her completely. She zeroed in on the bouquet in your hands, which was now populated exclusively with the skewers dripping in juice and tiny flecks of leftover fruit pieces. Her mouth dropped open and the tone of her voice rose. Seriously, Jamie, what were you thinking? It was supposed to be for all of us at home. She glanced at Cove, who sat beside you, and continued mockingly. Even if you did have an in with the delivery boy, this was up to Mr. Holden. Cove gave you a bent smile of support, which didn't help disprove her accusation. I can apologize. Sorry, Elizabeth. Get over it. Well, the morning's been kind of a disaster. We were hungry. It wasn't us. The seagull came down and ate it all while we weren't looking. Let's let her get over it. Elizabeth narrowed her eyes, not at all okay with that kind of response. Oh no, said Derek. I think I hear the mean kid coming back. We better get out of here. Elizabeth blinked, confused, and looked around. Oh, she's going to eat him up. What kid? I don't see anyone. Derek didn't bother explaining. He just launched to his feet and ran off. Cove hopped up too, gladly taking the opportunity to exit the situation. He followed after Derek, but he sent a look to you from over his shoulder. You turned to watch Elizabeth. She stared back, brow raised. You ran, you stayed. Let's run too. Without a word, you got to your feet and bolted down the beach. Unimpressed, Elizabeth rolled her eyes. They're so immature, she said. She shook her head as she walked towards the house, not bothering whatsoever to follow. Meanwhile, the three of you made it back to the shoreline. Derek pumped his fists, grinning in triumph. We escaped and shall live to see another day. Let's see exactly, but we should keep moving. Yeah, for now at least. Victory. My mom's going to be so mad when Elizabeth tells this story. Yeah, that sounds like them. Oh, well, I say. You chuckled together, walking further down the beach side by side. All right. We've got another ad starting in 48 seconds. So we're going to take another break soon. And this stream has about another 23 minutes to it. Yeah. So let's stretch out a little bit here. I think this stage is a little bit more interesting. For sure. Our Life, beautiful and always free on Steam, guys, if you want to check it out. And yeah, We'll be right back. Take a hydration break, take a bathroom break. I'll see you soon. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let me see. Okay, we have about 15 minutes left in the stream. We're going to keep going and stop at a good natural point. Probably when this segment here finishes. I think we're nearing the end. Again, thank you for joining my stream, everyone. I appreciate you, whether you're lurking, whether you're in the chat, whether you support by following or even just watching. I appreciate it all, of course. We will be back tomorrow night, same time, for the start of my first playthrough of Stardew Valley. The most recommended cozy game, the most recommended farming game that I've been seeing around. It will be a no cam stream, live from my bed after work, decompression, chill stream. So hopefully you'll come back and join for that. But let's continue on here. Okay, you definitely wanted to stay outside a little while longer. You had gotten a bit of a scolding from your moms for not saving any of Mr. Holden's gift for Elizabeth, but you didn't get any real punishment for it. Instead, while you were out with the boys, Elizabeth returned home to share the news. The three of them went to get dessert on their own. It was declared even by your parents when everyone got back and the event was settled. That was a while ago now. Later that night, you found yourself seated near the kitchen counter. Oh. This phone. Your fingers drummed on the surface as you waited, your gaze trained on the phone. You were waiting on a call tonight, specifically from your cousin, Leandra. You didn't want to miss it accidentally. Your uncle, aunt, and Lee used to live many hours away. Your families only saw each other a few times a year for big occasions. A while back, though, they'd moved and were closer to you than ever before. You now hung out regularly. With school being out, you're positive she's going to want to come over a lot. The two of you were the same age and got along well. She used to be really fond of Lizzie, Elizabeth, too, but now that your sister had become allergic to interacting with her own family, it tended to be just you and Lee who spent time together. She was your only friend who was a girl. Being family helped make you close, but you had a lot of girlfriends. Well, I haven't seen her hang out with any girls in this game. Sorry for that. Let's see. She was your only friend who was a girl. You weren't all that close with any other girls your age. But you had plenty of other friends, but you didn't really have a lot of friends either. They just all happened to not be girls. Okay. Then the shrill ringtone announced an incoming call. You jumped before grabbing the receiver and pressing it to your ear. Lee, finally. Who is it? Peach's residence. Jamie speaking. Hello. Okay. Hi, sorry about the wait, Jamie. It took forever to get the phone away from my mom, said Lee. That's okay, I say. There was static on the end, as if Lee was shifting wherever she was. So can you believe school's finally over? I thought it'd never be done. Now we don't have to do any of that boring stuff and we get to hang out whenever we want. Speaking of hanging out, Lee, can you wait a second, I ask? Let me just head to my room. Oh, yeah. You got up from your seat at the counter. Luckily, the phone was wireless, so you didn't have to worry about any cords tying you down. Your mom's had a rule about not moving the phone unless a call was in progress, which is why you'd been sat by its cradle waiting for Lee to call. I remember that. It was like back in the day for landlines, like if you did not keep your phone hooked up, the battery would die and you would not get phone calls. Your moms could really be unfair. All right, let's not exaggerate. You thought that made sense. You didn't like it, but it had to be that way. It was nice to keep everything in its proper place. But now that Lee had called, it was okay for you to go upstairs to your bedroom and talk to her. You made your way up the stairs smiling. After you had arrived, you shut the bedroom door firmly behind you. You took a seat on your bed. All right, I'm here, I say. Cool. Hey, did you know the girl down the street from me has her own phone now? A cell phone, said Lee. She doesn't have to wait for someone else to stop using it or anything. Wow, really? The thought of someone having a phone that was all their own seemed unbelievable to you. Right? I wish I had one too, but my parents said I couldn't get my own phone until I'm more grown up. I wish they changed their mind. We could call each other every single day and no one would be able to stop us. How great would that be? Really great, I say. But wouldn't I still be using a home phone? Too bad that's so far away. Say really great. We could even stay up late talking about whatever we want. Lee sighed thoughtfully into the receiver. At least they said I could have it someday. I can't wait. She sighed dramatically. I bet I'm not going to get one until I'm all the way in college. Get a job, girl. Get a job when you're 16. I did not get my first cell phone until I was 14. I remember going to T-Mobile. It was T-Mobile. And it was a Nokia. Little Nokia. And I paid for that via my allowance. I got like $20 a month. And I got a $20 a month phone plan. So I had my cell phone, my first cell phone at 14. And I think that's probably the minimum age you should get one. Papa. Maybe even when you're older, because, with smartphones these days. Squeezing the phone between your shoulder and ear, you puffed up your pillows and made yourself more comfy. It was strange to think of a time when normal school would be over and you'd have to choose whether or not to go to a college. School was such a big part of your life now. Studying didn't come easy to you. Though you tried hard, you worked about as hard as most people got and got pretty average results as well. You never tried much, but you still didn't do that bad. You didn't bother at all in school and your grades reflected that. Everything in your classes came easily to you. You worked hard for all your excellent grades. Studying didn't come easily to you, I'm going to say. You knew it was important and you wanted to do well. Frustratingly, even your best didn't seem to quite ever be good enough. You didn't know how it could be harder. You felt a lot of pressure to get higher grades than you did last year. You hoped to do just as well this year, but it wouldn't be a big deal if they dropped some. You were confident your grades would remain great. You had no plans on getting excellent scores this time around. Jeez. Grades weren't the most important thing, no matter how good or bad they ended up being. Okay, we went into this whole thing about grades for what? Let's keep it moving. Yeah, I say. You tried to sound engaged, but your mind had decided to go back to school despite the season. Lee knew you too well to be fooled. You sound so spacey. What's up? She asked. Just thinking about school, I say. Lee groaned. Are you thinking about how we don't have to think about it because it's summer? That's what I'm doing. I'm looking forward to going back. Let's make a petition for more vacation time. It's so awful. I hate going. Come on, it's too scary not to think about it. I get what you mean, said Lee. Though I guess school isn't all the way bad. You could do some good things there. You can just do more when school's out. Oh my, this conversation is boring me. What are we doing here? Learning new things. I thought we were going to talk about Cove. Learning new things can be cool. Gym is pretty great though. It's the easiest way to hang out with people not in the neighborhood. The cafeteria lunch at my school could be better than they had any right to be. There's nothing good about my school. Is that right? Could be better than they had any right to be. I don't think that's formulated correctly. There was all sorts of sports stuff during gym, I say. Oh yeah, it can be fun sometimes. Learning new things can be cool. It's the easiest way to hang out. Wait, what? Okay, but that was all. And that's pretty much everything that's good about school, I say. Okay, point taken, said Lee. Now I decree the topic of school is officially closed. We have to talk about this summer first before we start plotting the rest of our lives. I got some plans already. Ooh, tell me, I say. I'm going to visit my cousin, said Lee. You chuckled, of course. What's something you want to do? The first thing that comes to your head. I want to spend time with people. I've got some new art supplies, reading. I'm going to catch up on movies and TV. Probably I'll spend time at the beach. I didn't want to do anything at all. It's a vacation. Mine was like, I'm going to catch up on movies and TV. I need to do that too, said Lee. You leaned back in your bed, settling in as you continued chatting with your friend. Even though it hadn't been that long since you saw her and you'd be seeing her soon, you found plenty to talk about. For one, the events of the day. You sat up straighter. I was with Cove and Derek today, I said, and we met a new kid. Like at your neighborhood, asked Lee? His parents are visiting family, so it sounds like he'll be around for a little while. I don't know how long. What was he like, asked Lee. Creepy, mean, weird, kind of interesting. I wouldn't say mean. He kept snapping when all we were trying to do is talk to him. He just kept being rude to everyone, I say. But especially Cove. It was awful. I don't think I want to meet him, said Lee. You want a boy to stay away before even meeting him? That's an unexpected twist. That is shady. Your cousin was pretty popular with the boys who knew her. She seemed happy enough to have them around until they started to annoy her. Who are you to talk? Cove and Derek are always around. They're both boys, you know, said Lee. That's true. That is not the same. They're not always around. I'm not the one who invites them. They show up on their own. You weren't able to say anything to that. That's right. Just keep your mouth shut. Lee laughed at your silence, deeply amused. Even though she couldn't see, you shook your head at her, grinning to yourself. Oh, God. Can she get a life? There was a stomping noise approaching your room, heralding the arrival of your irritated older sister. She flung the door open, a frown etched on her face. How long are you going to hog the phone? She asked. Glancing at your watch, you realized that your quick call had gone on much longer than anticipated. Elizabeth held out her hand, the other one lodged on her hip. She noticed the realization on your face. Time's up, said Elizabeth. Gotta go, I'll see you soon, okay? With a sigh, you said your goodbyes to Lee. Sorry for being long, I'm still using it. No, get out of my room. I think she needs to learn how to knock. I don't think so, said Elizabeth. You can't have everything in the world. Says who? Neither can you. I'm not the one asking for it, said Elizabeth. You had your turn. Now you want me to get mine too because you were first? In your dreams, I will get Mom's. You glared at her. Fine. She glared right back before whipping around and shouting at your door. Mom, Jamie won't give me the phone and it's way past my turn. She hollered back up the stairs. Let Elizabeth have her turn. Sharing is caring, and you only get rights to the phone if you use it responsibly. You heard her, said Elizabeth. Fine, I concede. Lee, I have to go now. Okay, see you soon, she said. Tell Elizabeth and your moms I said hi too. You'd barely pressed the end call button when Elizabeth whisked the handset from your fingers and began dialing someone new as she strode out the room. Your mom's voice called from downstairs. Hey, has anyone seen the phone? I'm using it, cried Elizabeth. With that, she shut your door behind you. Silence was left in the wake. That was one day to end your first summer of break. First day of summer break. I don't know why I said all that. Sometime later, it had gotten dark outside, and you laid in bed, wide awake. Your window rattled all of a sudden, startling you badly. You flinched, staring over at it with furrowed brows. From your vantage point, you saw only the moon and an open sky. You were scared, confused, annoyed, curious. Confused? I'm confused. What had caused that noise? Frowning, you sat up and moved closer to the window. You might as well find the reason behind the disturbance. Cove? You squinted. Yep, Cove is right outside your window. Your house is very angular and some parts stuck out further than others, so it theoretically wouldn't be hard to climb around on. Still, just because someone could didn't mean you expected it to ever happen. Cove looked awkward and unstable. His feet were braced against a section of the wall that jutted out, his arms flexing with the effort to keep him upright. With difficulty, he waved. Then he wobbled, immediately dropping his hand in alarm. You hurriedly opened the window. Cove scrambled inside, nearly falling flat on his face, but he was able to right himself in the end. What's he doing? He released a breath once he was ready. Hi, Jamie. What are you doing? What's up, Romeo? This sure is a surprise, but you're always welcome here. Is everything okay? What happened? You're lucky I didn't start screaming. Amazing, my dreams have come true. Oh my That's lame. That's lame. Let's just ask him what he's doing. Visiting, he said. Why, I asked. I needed to talk to you and couldn't wait until tomorrow. If I rang the doorbell, I know your moms would have answered and they just make me go home. I didn't really want to explain why I was coming over anyway. I don't want to talk about it. Well, besides with you, but that's why I did that. As unexpected as this was, you were touched. Cove felt like he could tell you what was wrong. I might have tried calling or something, except my dad was on the phone. Cove suddenly looked very cross. Dad, he was talking to my mom. Still is, probably. You raised your eyebrows. Cove had eavesdropped on his parents' phone conversation? You shouldn't have done that. Eavesdropping is bad. I would have done that too. You didn't comment on him eavesdropping. There were other things to talk about. Are you going to stay with your mom for a while again, I asked. Every year, Cove was sent off to live with his mom for a few weeks. When it happened, it varied. Sometimes he would go during winter break, but usually he went during summer. Even though it was hard news when you found out he was leaving and you missed seeing him those weeks, you understood. To your surprise, however, he shook his head. That's what I thought too, he said. But no, that's not what they were saying. My dad asked my mom not to have me leave this year. He said she could come stay with us here. You waited for him to continue. He didn't. The conversation abruptly dropped off. You couldn't help but stare at Cove. There was a complicated mix of expressions on his face. What did your mom say, I asked. She told him she'd come. How did he hear this two-way conversation? Like she was on speakerphone? Because that's weird. She told him she'd come. I know she's coming soon, before school starts. Well, that's the summer is like June to when school starts. It's summer, so yeah. Oh, I say. You had heard Cove talk about his mom a lot over the years. He'd tell you about past memories or what happened while he was visiting her. Still, it was one thing to hear about someone and another to actually meet them. Very soon, you were going to see Cove's mom in person. You were taken aback by the news, so you could only imagine how Cove felt. You looked over at him. He was pacing across your room, his features pained with dread. Before they'd barely stay in the same room long enough to have lunch. Now we're going to be all together again? The three of us after all this time? Just for a few weeks, he said. I know I should probably be happy they can talk to each other now. I'm still not. I'm just confused and freaked out, and now I feel really bad for feeling this way. Jamie, it's so... His fist tightened and his eyes became misty. It shouldn't keep getting like this. It's been a long time already, and I'm not a little kid. Though he wouldn't meet your eyes, you knew he was waiting for you to say something. There's nothing wrong with feeling bad. That is hard to deal with. We can deal with this. I'm sorry, Cove. I'm here for you. Yeah, that's a lot. You didn't know what to say. Okay. The tense line of Cove's shoulders eased. Thanks. That makes me feel a little better, he said. Like I'm not freaking out for no reason. A momentary silence fell over the two of you. You marveled at how the day started. You had woken up eager for summer vacation, but now things seemed so crazy. The mini debacle with Mr. Holden's gift, the newest addition to the neighborhood being so rude, and as if all that wasn't enough, now Cove's mom would be living with Cove and his dad again. Your whole life was kind of like that, it seemed, complicated and hard and different. Why couldn't things just get better with time? Jamie? The sound of your name, said quietly, pulled you from your thoughts. Cove gazed at you, concerned. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. You meant it. Yeah, I'm okay. You didn't mean it. No, I'm not. I don't know. Who, me? I'm more worried about you. Wow, things are kind of bad for everyone, huh? Let's do this. You knew some things were still good. Cove grinned reassuringly. It was small and delicate, but you knew it was genuine. He had come here conflicted and upset only to end up worrying about you. He really was a great friend. You know, I think I don't want to talk any more about this. He looked away, his lips thinning into a line, and rubbed at his arms. But I kind of don't want to go back home either. Could I stay a little longer, just doing something else? He appeared equal parts hopeful and vulnerable. How could you possibly turn him away? I'll say, you can stay tonight, but we shouldn't make a habit of this. I've got a flashlight and some cards. Are you in? Of course, you can always stay here, Cove. You held his gaze confidently, hoping your words got across to him. Cove perked up at your response, a smile appearing on his face. He immediately took a seat on your bed, not afraid to get comfortable in your room. You felt a little better at the sight somehow. You still had a lot of worries, but you were glad he was here. And not just tonight, you were glad he came into your life in the first place. That was a change you'd never want to undo. Who would have thought Cove would mean so much to you? You certainly had it in the beginning. You had kept your distance, and so had he. Now you considered him to be one of your closest friends. You joined Cove on your bed, taking a seat across from him. He smiled at you again, but you could tell this time it was half-hearted. He was still easy to read. Though he didn't want to talk about his mom and dad, he must be thinking about what had happened and what's about to happen. Let's see. You smiled gently at him. You put a hand on his shoulder. You patted his back. You hugged him. You took his hand in yours. You nudged him with your foot. Let's just smile gently at him because we kind of got some walls up. You had no idea how to make him feel better, though you wanted to try anyway. Hopefully your presence was helping. Conversation was stilted and broken often by silence at first. Then both of you were able to get into your usual candor. As your secret hangout session stretched on, you thought that you truly wanted to keep having moments like this with him. You hoped the day would never come when life decided that the two of you would have to part ways, and you knew Cove felt the same. You opened your tired eyes, groaning as they adjusted to the bright light that was streaming through your window and warming your skin. Your tan skin. With a loud yawn, you rolled away from the sunlight and blinked a couple of times, clearing the sleep from your eyes, before realizing with a start that it was actually morning. You couldn't even remember falling asleep. Cove had crept through your window during the night, and the two of you spent time together, trying not to wake your parents. You must have fallen asleep while you were hanging out, but couldn't put a finger on exactly when. You wonder how late Cove had stayed before heading home. You rubbed your face and yawned again, contemplating whether you should get out of bed and get ready for the day, or stay snuggled up for a little while longer. Until your gaze landed on an instantly recognizable mop of pale green hair, and you bolted upright and gasped in response. In surprise. He never left. He was still here in the morning. Cove! You laughed out loud. You jumped out of bed. You froze. Your muscles refused to move an inch, and your eyes widened as you stared at Cove sleeping form in absolute shock. If your moms found out he slept here the entire night, you would both be in big, big trouble. Realizing quickly that you needed to get Cove out of here before your moms or Elizabeth walked in and found him, you willed your body to get a move on and swung your legs over the side of the bed. You whispered in his ear, you shook his shoulder, you poked him in the face, you tugged at his hair, you threw a pillow at him. Let's do classic rom-com. Grabbing one of the soft, fluffy pillows from your bed, you tossed it at Cove and he woke with a start. You scrambled out of the way as he abruptly jumped to his feet before almost losing his balance and falling back down. He recovered just as quickly and faced you indignantly. What was that for? Shh, I say. Well, the situation dawned on him too before he even finished the word. Cove blinked at you a couple of times, his eyes growing in panic as some thought that only he could hear settled in his mind. Oh my God, I fell asleep, he said. You weren't exactly sure what to do as you watched Cove pace your room, looking around frantically. Cove stopped mid-step, and you wanted to ask what he had been searching for, but you guessed he wouldn't know the answer to that himself. Despite that, he hadn't calmed down completely. The atmosphere was still frazzled. It's going to be all right. We're going to be in so much trouble. Just calm down, settle down for Mom's hear you. You didn't say anything. Cove nodded, his shoulders tensed as he fixed you with a firm stare with his turquoise eyes. Letting out a heavy sigh, he ran a hand through his hair in exasperation. He couldn't look at you again as he spoke. I'll see you later, he said. You were confused about how all of this played out, but hoped that was true. Right. Bye, Cove, I say. At that, he glanced at you once more. The expression was placid. In all the panic, he was stopped ever so briefly by a moment of clarity. Thanks again. You're a good friend, Jamie. He firmly whispered the words so there was no room to doubt he meant it. but he turned away from you before you had a chance to respond or even fully react. In a matter of seconds, he had climbed over your bed and opened the window. A cool breeze rolled off the ocean, fluttering through Cove's hair and filling your room with its salty scent. Cove anxiously stepped out onto the ledge. You wished him luck, you rallied him to keep going. You suggested he sneak out the door instead, you urged him to hurry up. Good luck, be super careful, I say. You weren't sure if he had heard you or not, but he kept going along, one foot in front of the other with increasing speed, until his form disappeared out of sight. You stuck with your head out the window as far as it can go to try keeping watch. He walked the full length of the ledge before jumping down to the top of the garage, then lowering himself onto the fence. From there, he finally dropped down to the ground. You threw out a thumbs up at his successful climb. He ran off towards his house without stopping, disappearing behind the side of another building. You had to admit that you were pretty impressed at how doable he made that look. With a little sigh, you reclosed your window. Deciding there was nothing more you could do, you hopped off your bed and got ready to head downstairs for the day. Just left. It was too early to do anything else. Okay. I think we're going to stop here. I'm not sure if it does that thing where we can pick the activities that we do. Doesn't seem like it. So I am all tapped out. So let's save to this empty slot. Jamie Peaches. Result to menu, yes. And that's gonna do it for me tonight, y'all. That is gonna do it for me tonight. Thank you again for joining, popping in this stream. There are thousands of streamers streaming, and you chose to be here with me. Thank you so much again. Thank you for the support. Again, I do not currently have a consistent schedule. So if you'd like to find out when I am live, please hit that follow and notification button, and you will be notified when I go live. Tomorrow we will be back with the first playthrough of Stardew Valley. I'm very excited to start this farming sim. I heard it's super cool, and I think there was a new update recently. So let's start on my bucket list of having a farm. And then we will be back next week. I will put that on my schedule to see what days, and it will definitely be a continuation of our life, and then probably another continuation of Stardew Valley. I do want to start what is it called? Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, and Stray. So I will get those on the schedule, and I feel like I'm this close to getting a steady schedule. But anyway, variety streamer, variety days. Thank you again for joining. I will see you tomorrow night, y'all. Have a good one. Bye. Make sure I'm hitting the... Yes. We got it.